Okay. So Kristen asked a great question about the Tong Len practice, which is a really powerful practice for us to be doing right now. And I can put more information about the Tong Len practice if you're not familiar with it along with this. But um, it's in essence, it's a practice where we allow ourselves to breathe in the suffering of others. We experience our own bodies, our own form being almost like a filter which can purify this suffering, and then we exhale this sort of clean, purified energy. And I love this question, and I love it when, you know, I've studied so many different kinds of practices, and I love it when somebody finds one that really works for them. And I can totally see why right now this practice could be a really powerful one. So let's talk about it a little bit. I think one of the main reasons why it's so powerful is because any compassion practice, any practice that is about healing our relationship with the other, with others around us, any practice like that is gonna be really, really important. We need these kinds of practices. And one way that I describe meditation is that meditation is showing up for what matters. Meditation is where we connect to the realest of the real, the truest of the true, you know, and we have to get quiet because the truth is often kind of underground, it's subtle, it's quiet. And so we meditate, or we do any of our spiritual practices because we're showing up for what matters most. And Tong Len is a practice where we show up for our relationships. And if our relationships are unhealthy, our world is unhealthy. We are unhealthy. And so really any practice that you do where you can spend a little time just calling in a friend or someone in your world who's suffering, or even someone who you don't understand. And I can teach some more practices like this. I've got a couple in mind that actually maybe would be really good right now for all of us. But really any practice where you could just spend a little time calling in a being and just hanging out with them. And meditation teaches us how to do this really amazing thing where we're just present. And we're not trying to mess with that thing. We're not trying to fix that thing. We're not trying to change that thing. We're just learning how to patiently, quietly be with. And in that way, all meditation is a compassion or a patience practice. But yes, so really any time that you intentionally call to mind a being and just hang out with them, even if you don't know Tong Len or anything to do with them, just hanging out with them in your heart, right, and in your imagination is worth a lot. And then there's this extra aspect of Tong Len, which syncs with our breath, which is, I always recommend just starting with embodied breath at the beginning of every meditation practice. And so when you link the meditation with the breath, this really beautiful organic thing starts to happen where the mind and the body start to work together. We start to get harmonized. And this practice of Tong Len, of breathing in, finding ourselves as purifiers, and then breathing back out, especially if we're doing it in this very kind of embodied, physically present way, starts to get us into touch with that healing power that we have inside. And and it starts to help us realize how strong we are and how connected we are. And so through healing the other, we also start to heal ourselves, right? We unlock the power of compassion. And that power of compassion it spreads to all beings, and it spreads to yourself too. Kristen asked about how to kind of be doing this throughout the day, and I just love that question so much because, in essence, the essence is the answer. Somebody who's doing this all day is the bodhisattva, is the enlightened being. And don't worry if you're like, I'm very far from enlightenment. But you could still be going around just checking in with yourself throughout the day and imagining yourself breathing in without fear, breathing in what's going on around you, and breathing out something clear, you know? And the seated meditation practice, I think, is super duper important because it builds up our capacity to just be with and to be present. And I recommend doing your meditation practice in a safe place so that you're not triggered, you know? But then what that builds a capacity for is once we're out in the world, we are building the capacity to be with bigger suffering or the suffering of more beings, right? There's kinds of suffering I couldn't really face before. I just wasn't mature enough. I didn't have what it takes, you know? And so over time, though, I've been able to build up this capacity through the meditation practice, through in that safe space, accumulating a period of time, over a period of time, this ability to be with. And then I can find myself out in the world doing these practices as a bodhisattva, becoming love in action in the world. Because I've started by cultivating it inside myself, inside my meditation practice. And so let's do, we're gonna do a little meditation now. And Kristen, do you have any questions before we go into the meditation? We could also chat just you and me after the meditation. This is on video, so it's up to you.
No, not right now.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you.
we're just gonna do a short little Tong Len practice. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Great.
I loved that explanation. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Good, good. I'm glad it's helpful.
Muting myself.
Okay. And I'm going to record this for all of us. Arrive. Breathe. And let the here and the now reclaim you. From all your stories about the past or the future. From all your concerns about what is not here in this moment. Let the here and the now reclaim you as you arrive and breathe. Find a center inside your own body. And trust that center. Now you're going to call to mind one person for this practice. Don't get too caught up in the choosing. You can always do the practice again anytime with a different person. Just choose one person who is suffering in your world. And envision them sitting in front of you now. Maybe bow to them and thank them for coming. Anyone who arrives in our meditation practice is a teacher for us. Visualize the pain or the suffering inside of this person as smog or smoke inside. Toxins accumulate. That's part of nature. It's okay. We're not afraid of this suffering. And less so because we can see it now, right? What we can see, we can work with. Feel that inside your own form, inside your own body, there is a clear, healthy, strong inner ecosystem. And just as a healthy ecosystem will purify toxins, your inner ecosystem will do that in just a moment for this suffering. Find the rhythm of your breath and begin to notice as the smog inside of this person starts to come out of their breathing passageways and toward you. Allow yourself to begin to breathe in this energy. Your very strong and healthy and robust inner system cleans it. And you breathe out clear breath. We're going to let this process continue now just for a minute on your own. If you get overwhelmed, you can just pause the visualization, maybe put a hand on your body and just take some breaths for yourself. Notice that this person is becoming clearer and clearer inside. See that the last of the smog inside this being gathers. And with one last big inhale, you take it all in, all of it. And with a big exhale, you let it out. Any residual smog, the atmosphere around you now will clean and take care of. If you need to take a couple more breaths out, you can. And then feel you and your friend now that you've called here, sitting clear, hearts open. No more obstructions inside or between you. Light filling up the space inside of each of you and the space that you share. Bow to your friend one more time and let them move on. Watch them move on, lighter, freer. And sit in the power of the Bodhisattva. Sit as an agent of love. Thank you so much, Kristen. Let's stop.